This kid is a gamer. He's a baller. He's a playmaker and a shot caller. In case you didn't know, I got Tebow. He shattered the mold, and all he does is win. All he does is win games.
Listen,
I got Tebow. He shattered the mold, and all he does is win. All he does is unleash.
Tim Tebow,
let him go.
It's time.
Turn him loose.
Let him play. Let him play.
on Sunday.
Unleash.
Tim Tebow,
Let him go.
It's time.
Turn him loose.
Let him play.
I'm going to church Sunday.
Tell me the message was no. Tell me they are fucking with Eagles organization. Are you going to sit here and tell me you got that desperate that you need to sign Tim Tebow? And yes, I say desperate because you're showing your hand. That's what you're doing right now. I will explain this. Before I get started on Tim Tebow, let's go back. Because mind you, we talked about how this was going to happen before. They were going to trade Matt Barkley so that they can make room for Tim Tebow. Did we not talk about this? Okay, now let's get something straight here. Matt Barkley. Nobody here was sold on Matt Barkley. The fan base knew that Matt Barkley was not the chosen one. The very same Matt Barkley you decided to waste a draft pick on and then tried to sell us on it. Did you not, Eagles? And then when the Eagles tried to sell it on us, what happened? The media tried to sell us on it, and it didn't work. And still to this day, Eagles fan base decides Matt Barkley isn't worth a damn thing. So what made you think that you were going to try and trade Matt Barkley to Miami? That's right, to Miami, and ask for a ton of stuff, and Miami said, look, he ain't worth it. And that's what they did. So you dropped the trade, and you still signed Tebow, so now that makes us with 3. Matter of fact, should I even say 3? No. 4 bad quarterbacks on our roster. However, only 3 today. Only 3 will be pivotal to this video, okay? So let's get on that right now. Tim Tebow. I don't understand why you would even go after Tim Tebow after what's been said. For those who do not remember, in 2011, what Chip Kelly said, Tim Tebow, his system, because we're talking about the system, the very same system, you got rid of Deshaun Jackson, you got rid of LaShawn McCoy, and a number of other players who still did well in this system. Remember, they weren't great in the system. But Tim Tebow fits the system. Even though in 2011, link will be in the info bar, Chip Kelly said that in his system, Tim Tebow, it's not tailored to his style of quarterbacking. Obviously, that changed now, huh? Now we have Adam Schefter coming out and saying that, earlier, apparently this morning on ESPN, that Tim Tebow will be used as a situational quarterback, a short yardage quarterback. You do understand by doing that, you're showing your hand, right? You understand that that's like playing poker and just showing everyone everything. You have to understand every time Tim Tebow takes the field, if that's the case, then that's what defense is going to see. He's coming on the field. Y'all know what package to run for Tim Tebow so you can stop him. Because it's a short yard situation with quarterback option, that's what you want to use him for? You've got to stop. No. And people are saying that, I understand that people are going to say, Tim Tebow is a better third-string quarterback than Matt Barkley. But you're not understanding the baggage that comes with Tim Tebow. That's the problem, okay? You have to understand. Look what happened in Denver. As soon as the quarterback threw an interception, bring in Tebow! Bring out the Tebow tattoos. Bring out the Tebow and worshiping and all this other carrying on. Then, what happened in New York Jets? As soon as Mark Sanchez would mess up, what happened? Bring in Tebow because he's the savior and blah, blah, blah. His fan base are a bunch of damn loons. That's the problem. And I see it as it is coming up this upcoming season. You are going to have Tebow fans, all right, diehard Tebow fans who are going to fight with Eagles fans. And there's enough drama in this city already. We do not need that type of fighting. You understand that, right? This is the baggage that comes with Tim Tebow. And it's not going to end anytime. The only way this ends is if Tim Tebow doesn't make the team in preseason, if he gets cut. Other than that, no. There's no way that you can sit here and say that Tim Tebow is a viable option, but he's going to be a third string. No. Tim Tebow is coming to be the starter. All right, you have to understand every quarterback who tries out, who gets on a team, who signs, and competes for a starting spot, that's what they do. And you have to understand that hype that surrounds Tim Tebow will push him even further, even if he doesn't deserve it. Speaking of deserving things, Skip Bayless. Let's talk about this right now, all right? Because you knew he was going to say something, right? As soon as Tim Tebow was signed, Skip Bayless says that because of Tim Tebow's antics late in the fourth quarter, this is why he deserves a shot on the Eagles. How much you want to make a bet if Tim Tebow makes this team, Skip Bayless will turn on the Cowboys and become an Eagles fan. How much you want to make a bet on that? Because you've got to be kidding me that he's going to sit here and say something like this, talking about deserving a shot. Let's talk logic first, Skip Bayless. I'm going to bury you today, all right? This is going to be way too easy. Deserving a shot? No, no, no. That's not how football works, all right? You earn your shot. That's how it works. You want to sit here and talk about how Tim Tebow, because of what he did in the last 5 minutes, and is the best QBR in quarterback rating, for those who don't know what QBR means. Quarterback rating in the last 5 minutes. Okay, let's talk about quarterback rating since you like to cherry pick so much, Skip Bayless. Let's talk about how the Eagles now, when it comes to signing Tim Tebow, and quarterback ratings, all right? Between Sam Bradford, okay, Mark Sanchez, and Tim Tebow, 3 out of the previous 5 years since 2010, okay? In the previous 5 years, 3 of the quarterbacks that are on our roster have the worst quarterback rating in the league. That's right. Let's look at the stats. So once again, I have to ask, who is going to throw this ball? Don't tell me Sam Bradford's going to be the starter, all right, Mr. Glass. That's not going to happen, all right? Or Mark Sanchez, who has no idea what the hell he's doing from game to game, and we've shown you that throughout last season, okay? And then you want to bring in Tim Tebow. I guess Matt Barkley, since he hasn't been traded yet, he's going to be our savior. You have 4 quarterbacks. Like I said, only 3 are pivotal right now to what we're talking about. But 4 quarterbacks on this roster that can't get the job done. And you know what? Since the signing of Tim Tebow, you know what's happened? I've gotten a lot of messages from Redskins fans, and from Cowboys fans, and from Giants fans. And you know they all say the same thing. We feel sorry for you. Sorry for what's about to happen to you. It goes to show you what is happening. Our team rivals are pitying us. See, Chip Kelly, I don't understand. Look, a lot of people are saying, we've seen it all night on Twitter, where people are saying that Chip Kelly is either a mastermind, a genius, or he is really, really stupid. And then you have these people who are saying, well, I hope this works out for Tim Tebow. I hope this works out for Chip Kelly. It makes everyone look stupid. You know what? I think at this point, that Chip Kelly really believes, it's not ego, it's not stupidity, he really believes that he can do this with this roster. He really believes, and you know what? If he really believes that, that doesn't make him egotistical, that doesn't make him stupid. No, you want to know what makes him? It makes him dangerous, and it makes him as crazy as them damn Tebow fans. That's what it makes him. When you look at the body of work from these quarterbacks, down a damn list, are you going to sit here and tell me that one of these guys, because as you know, for us Eagles fans, Super Bowl or bust every year. That's how we look at things until this whole rebuild. And then we said, all right, well, you can't expect much. Let's be realistic here. And then as the height of the season goes on, everyone starts to get hype again. Super Bowl or bust. Playoffs or bust. We see this all the time. Name me one quarterback on our roster right now that you can foresee it taking us to a Super Bowl. Tell me one of them. And you know what? Maybe this is just some type of master in disguise plan where you're going to package all these quarterbacks up and get a draft pick. Maybe. I'm really hoping that's the case here, because I don't see any other viable option. You've got to be kidding me if you think that this is okay. And you know what? Now that we have the Tebow fans on board, and I have to say this because you know how us Eagles fans feel about bandwagoners. Now that the Tebow fans are on board, and we've seen it all night, from Philadelphia media, I've always been a fan of Tim Tebow. And then people were retweeting the guy, trashing Tebow the entire time. I don't know how this guy could even, how he even got in the NFL. And this is what we're going to see now. It's that Tebow mania type thing. For people who are going to come and flock to this fan base, I think you need a real hard lesson, a reminder of what us Eagles fans are all about. E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles!
I think it's part of almost a birthright of a Philadelphian. And, when you see the people that are going to the games at the Link now and supporting the Eagles now, there's no bandwagon element to the fan support in this city.
Listen to the crowd, they are roaring.
Their fathers were at Veterans Stadium in January 1981 on a bitter cold day when the Eagles beat the Cowboys. And their grandfathers were at Franklin Field in 1960 when the Eagles beat the Packers for the NFL championship. And their great-grandfathers were in the snow in 1948 at Connie Mack Stadium when the Eagles beat the Chicago Cardinals. I mean, the Eagles are precious to the people in this town. They're a family heirloom that's handed down from generation to generation. That's why the people stay with them year after year, through the bad times, through the losing seasons. I mean, for the people in this town to jump on and off a bandwagon, as they say, or they do in some other cities, and abandon a team when it loses, it's not going to happen in this town. That would be like taking your family album and putting it out at the curb for the trash man. I mean, because the Eagles are part of your family. They're part of who you are. And that's why I think this is the #1 football town. Because it's been a long time since this team won a championship. And yet the fans every year have the hope that this is going to be the year. And they show up year after year waiting for it to happen. You know, that's the definition of loving football, and that's the definition of loving a football team.
So as you can see in this city, this is something we do not play around with here. So understand this really quickly, Tebow fans. If you step in here and you decide you want to buy Tebow merchandise, as soon as you put on that green jersey, it's not about Tebow anymore. It's not. It's about this team. It's about the heart of this city. And I want to say this to Chip Kelly really quick. Because you have to understand, when people are sitting here saying that you can make these moves and that you're still doing it, and a lot of you, I'm sure we've all heard that everyone's saying, he's making these moves and he doesn't care what anyone thinks. You have to understand, Chip Kelly, this is not about you. Okay? It's not. You have to understand, when you make these moves, we feel it as well as fans. So when you put our city, our fan base in distress like this, guess what? That makes you an asshole. There's no reason for it. And then to give half-assed the reasons on why, or bullshit lies like you did with Nick Foles, all right, and say, we really didn't want to trade Foles. Well, if you really didn't want to trade Foles, you wouldn't have done it. It's that simple. But you did it anyway, didn't you? Okay, then. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm not trying to hear this. Now, if you want to sit here and say it's more than just Chip Kelly as the front office, as we know, Chip Kelly has a lot of power in the front office, all right? But Jeffrey Lurie is signing off on these, then guess what? Then it's time you start looking at Jeffrey Lurie as well. But I'm not trying to hear that if this falls apart within this year, next season, Chip Kelly just going to be like, I'm gone, and just leave us with nothing. Not trying to hear that, because as we know, he can go back to Oregon. We know that. This is something that is serious here in this fan base, in this city. You don't play with a football team like that. So, of course, fans are going to be very upset. They have every right to be. Every questionable move that you make, that just is like, what the hell? Yeah. Not too long ago, someone on Twitter said, you know what? I didn't feel like giving away my season tickets. And I had to tell them, look, you got season tickets, go to the games and enjoy it for what it is. Just at least do that as a fan. Because if that's going to hinder you from going to the games, it's just, no, you can't do that. At the end of the day, you still got to be an Eagles fan. At the end of the day, if you're going to, push this team, we've seen it throughout so far, since the offseason. Eagles fans, every time a player gets released, we don't need him. We didn't need him anyway. We don't need him. And then you turn around, you found out just a month ago, I'm sorry, not even a month, a week ago before the trade happened, they were the savior as well. We've seen when Deshaun Jackson left, how many Eagles fans decided, I'm leaving the nest to go to the Redskins. That's the things we're talking about. So when you see things like that happening, guess what? We're all pointing fingers and we're all aiming and saying, hey, look, this is a bandwagoner and we don't expect this. And if you leave, don't come back. And you hear these things time and time again. This city is built off of pride. And with hard work comes winning. Don't tell me you're going to cherry pick this player, because it fits your system. Then turn around and talk about the culture of your team when you got rid of Deshaun Jackson, who doesn't have a jail record, all right? You wanted to sit here and label him a thug and be around thugs, yet you went and got Kiko Alonso, who's been arrested. So I'm not trying to hear this. The fact is, this is something that needs to be taken care of. What I mean about logic-wise, today, I'm really hoping that the media digs their heels. I understand you really can't rely on the media, but they need to dig their heels into this and not do the basics and say, and really just blanket and be like, well, Tim Tebow, he's a better third string than Matt Barkley. And just leave it like that. We can't have that. We can't have that anymore. No. You got to look, like I said, you got to look at what comes with Tim Tebow. I want to move on to football, but overseas football. Chelsea. Got to talk about Chelsea versus Manchester United. First off, Chelsea, very disappointing win. Did we get the win? Yeah. Does it knock out Manchester United? Yes, it does, because they can't catch up. There's too many points now. They are out. Okay? They're done, as far as I'm concerned. Especially when you look at the rest of our schedule. It's a cool breeze sailing after next week. Or should I say this week coming up. Okay? Now, I'll put it like this. Chelsea, you didn't play hard. I say this due to the fact that you should have put a lot of pressure on Manchester United, and you didn't. What you did was, you played conservative defense counter, and you gave up all these big spots where Manchester United can just run up the field. Possession-wise, Manchester United had 70% possession, as opposed to Chelsea's 30%. So as far as I'm concerned, that is unacceptable. For you to be an elite class, and you're supposed to be the top spot, you cannot let Manchester United play that way. And even after they lost, Manchester United said, we feel great. Not because, and the thing is, they lost, but they felt great because the way they played against Chelsea. Because they didn't think that they would play that well. They even said, even Wayne Rooney said, they played the best they have all season. And my response was, so you played the best you have all season, and you still lost. Just saying. That's how I see it. As far as I'm concerned, when it comes to this late in the season, and it comes to winning, there's no moral victories. None. That's all it comes down. There's no more, oh, well, we tried really hard, and we played the best we have all season, so that should be okay. No. No. That's not good enough. So I have to ask Manchester United, since, you're going now, where's your killer instinct? Where's your anger? You should be sitting here and saying, you know what? That pissed us off so much, the next game we play, we want to take it out on our team. That's what you should be doing. Every opponent that comes in from, I would say, even next season, then you take it out on them. Because you should take that personally. You got so close, yet you failed. And that's what it comes down to. And you tried to give it to Fellaini so much because he's such a big body, he's a tall guy. And Matches, he stopped that, did he not? Yeah. It goes to show you that if you have the right matchups, you can win these games every time. I'm not trying to hear squeaking by. Next week, on Sunday, we have Arsenal. That is the big one. That is a rivalry. You have to understand, if you play against Arsenal the way you play against Manchester United, you will lose this game, Chelsea. We cannot have this. And then afterwards, I believe, is Leicester, I believe. So, as far as I'm concerned, take this now, because this is your biggest threat. Knock them out the box. And then, we got it. It's over and done with as far as I'm concerned. But you have to make sure that this is the game of games. Alright? This is the rivalry. This is what you need. And I'm just saying that if you're going to play hard throughout any other game in this season, because I said before, you got to play hard. You got to play like it's every game is your last from here on out. All right? But if you're going to ease up on the pedal, if you're going to play hard for once, then you play hard against Arsenal. Because Arsenal's coming to play. They're in second place. They're coming. And they're not looking back. They're not trying to hear, oh, well, it was a moral victory, like Manchester. No. They're not trying to do that. Okay? Chelsea, get on your horse for this. Can you give us one game where it looks like you give a damn? Can you do that? Because in previous X amount of games, you're just skating by. And if something doesn't go your way, you flop. And what did I say last week? I said, I need to see some production out of Oscar. And what happened? Oscar to Hazard for the goal, did we not? Okay. This is what I'm talking. This is what you need. There is no way that this fan base, and if anyone watched that game, there was a lot of booing. A lot of people were upset, not because of just some calls, and we saw some questionable calls, all right? But the way Chelsea they just played so conservative, played so far back, and you let these guys get shot after shot after shot, and of course they couldn't put the ball in, all right? Falcao almost had a chance, but we all know how that went. But Rooney had a number of chances and was wide right, damn near 9 times out of 10. So it didn't matter. But you can't sit here and, you know what? I have to speak on this again. Drogba. Yeah, Drogba. Let's get on this right now. Chelsea had a second chance at a goal. Okay? For those who know what happened. Had a second chance at a goal. Drogba kicks it high, and Hazard tries to put it in. Now, understand, because it hits the crossbar and falls down. Drogba kicks it over. Drogba falls down. And instead of him getting up and hustling to back up Hazard, what does he do? He lays on his back and he watches the entire time. And when the ball doesn't go in the crossbar, mind you, bounce off the crossbar, rolls out. So if Drogba was up, he would have had a chance to score because the goalkeeper had his back turned. Drogba lays there and does all this and does all this instead of getting up. I'm so tired of this dude. I am. As it gets later and later into the season, it gets worse and worse with me when it comes to my judgment withdrawal because I'm pretty much staring. It's like giving him a death stare through the screen the entire time. I can't take that. I can't because he's so bad. He just is. He is. And there's no justifying it either. Even when you have a chance to do something good, you still mess it up with your dramatics. I can't. No. There's a time where you can be dramatic. You want to be dramatic? Wait till you win. Then be dramatic if you want. But until then, I'm not trying to hear it. Okay? Oh my God. Anyways, speaking of dramatic, Griffin Force flop of the week. Let's talk about it, shall we not? Okay, for those who don't know what happened, Griffin Force flop of the week. I'm going to go with Montreal versus Ottawa. I cannot believe that this happened. Watch this flop. And don't get me wrong. It is a penalty, but it's light. Anyone who's ever played hockey, you know this isn't hurting you. But the guy's going to fall down anyway and roll on the ice.
Chokes up on the stick to swing a little bit, but that's not as hard as a game on the stick to swing a little bit, but that's not as hard as a game.
Oh, look, it's one thing to get slashed. It wasn't even a hard slash. But if you're going to slash one, you know if you're going to get hit in the arm and you feel that, you're going to hold your arm, you're going to keep skating like this. You're not going to throw your head back, just roll on the ice and carry it. Come on, man. It's embellishing. Come on, stop. Come on, man. Like, you know what? I want to move on to basketball. Yeah, I know. Flopping and then talk about basketball, right? Yeah. So I got a chance to see the NBA playoffs this week, and there was a lot of sports on this weekend, so I didn't get a chance to see every game, but I did get a chance to take in Cavaliers versus Celtics. And let me say this now, Celtics fans, just to let you know, I understand that you're in a rebuilding phase here, you got a young crowd, but you will never, and I mean ever, win a championship as long as you have Evan Turner on your team. Yeah, I said it. Okay? Don't you understand that this dude is the jinx of all jinxes? Look what happened. He didn't go anywhere with the Sixers. Did he not? No, didn't go anywhere. They put him on the Pacers, who were at the time was projected to go to the championship that year. What happened? Pacers didn't go. Now you bring him to the Celtics, and like when you got to the Celtics, even the Celtics fans were like, "Yo, how does this guy keep getting paid?" And he's just playing bad. For those who didn't see, every time there was a mismatch between him and LeBron would just destroy this dude. It's ridiculous. Kevin Love, I saw, I should even rewind a little bit backwards before the game. Bulls fans are jawing at Cavs fans. And I don't understand why. And you're saying they're saying that Cavs fans should be scared. I really don't understand why. I mean, granted, I get it. Derrick Rose is back. Derrick Rose had a hell of a game. He did. Okay? But I don't understand why you feel as though the Cavaliers should be scared of the Bulls. I don't know if you're just trying to push up a rivalry. But right now, neither of you are playing each other. Neither of you. And for you to sit here and yell at the Cavaliers and the Cavaliers to respond back, that's disrespecting the teams that you're playing right now. You understand that, right? You're saying that both the teams that you're playing are going to be pushovers. And I know someone's going to say, but Event, they are pushovers. That's not the point. The point is you can only focus one game at a time. You should be not leapfrogging teams. I don't understand where that even came from. But Cavaliers, they didn't look so good, okay, in the first half. Actually, the Celtics were up the first half. But as we know, basketball is a game of runs. And the Celtics ran out on them. And I have to say this, I've seen so many people sit here and say that Iman Shumpert is going to be a great player. And for those who saw the way he played yesterday, it was atrocious. He's chucking up shots from, mind you, from the center key. From 3-point center key. And the ball's going wide left and hitting the backboard. Doesn't hit the rim, doesn't reset the shot clock. No. I just... Look, let's be honest here. This Cavaliers team is Kyrie Irving's team. I said it earlier this season. It is Kyrie Irving's team. It is not LeBron James' team. He is a secondary. Or whenever he decides he wants to play. Whenever he decides, he wants to show up, that's when it happens. Let's be honest here, okay? Now, they beat the Celtics. Don't expect much from the Celtics. They're playing with house money. I mean, let's be honest here. No one expected them to get into the playoffs. They worked harder than the Knicks, the Sixers, and so on. So they got themselves a spot. Okay? They still went out there and they tried for a while, which they did keep up the pace. They did. And then they couldn't keep up the pace the entire game. And that's all that happened. They just missed a lot of shots, chucking up a lot of threes, making a lot of bad decisions when it came to layups. whatever. But, hey, they're a young team. They're going to do that. Even though you're a young team and getting paid millions of dollars, it's inexcusable that when it comes playoff time, this is how you would act. And, once again, when it comes playoff time, you do need some experience. Unlike Jeff Van Gundy, who says, I'll take talent over experience any day. Yeah, well, that's you. And that's why you're not coaching anymore. Just saying. That's why you're a commentator now. You got to be kidding me. I want to move on, and I want to talk about the Atlanta Hawks game. That's right. Got you to see the Atlanta Hawks play. And you know what? Very disappointed in Atlanta Hawks. Because they're up, mind you. They're beating the Brooklyn Nets. In the first quarter, it was 35-20. All right? The Atlanta Hawks ended up having so many turnovers, they helped the Brooklyn Nets get back into this game. And then they barely squeaked by to beat them. It makes no sense to me. Atlanta Hawks they had, I'll say spurts, where they looked so dominant on the court. And then the rest was just, oops, we messed up. Oops, we messed up. Oh, there's a turnover. Oh, we did this. We just didn't do this right. Oh, I made a bad passing decision. They were beating themselves. It didn't make sense. So for the Atlanta Hawks to be the team to beat in this, and I'll play this, because as we know, the top three teams that people are going to say in the East is the Bulls, the Hawks, and the Cavs. Okay? Those are the top three teams that people are going to say can possibly have a chance of going all the way this year. The Hawks did not look great. They didn't. And I expected them to dominate Brooklyn. And it just seems like it didn't happen. We'll see what happens in Game 2. Okay? But Joe Johnson, every time Joe Johnson touched the ball last night, the crowd booed the hell out of him. And granted, his history with Atlanta, I get it. But if you're Joe Johnson, you think that because of this reaction, because you know how you're going to be received, you're going to go off on them. And you're going to show that you were worth the damn, that you left Atlanta to get a bigger payday. That's what you would have thought. I guess what Paul Pierce said about Joe Johnson is right, about him being too quiet and not being a leader. I guess. But that's what Paul Pierce does, right? He talks before playoff time. That's what he does. Anyways, I want to move on. I want to talk more about basketball, but for those who don't know, I have some news for you, okay? Terminal 23 Jazz Club has been turned into a basketball facility. And for those who don't know, this is by Jordan in New York. For those who have not seen what the basketball court looks like, this is what it looks like. Now, in my opinion, that is a beautiful court. They did a great job on renovation. Here's the problem. It's not open to the public. No. Invitation only. That's right. These are private places that Jordan made. The New York one is for Carmelo Anthony. I believe they have one in LA for Chris Paul and Blake Griffin. Now, they have said that kids that play in leagues are allowed to come there and play. But like I said, invitation only. So you're probably saying to yourself, well, that sounds like a good idea. It's keeping kids off the street and things of that nature. No, that's not it. Understand, this is scouting. Since it's invitation only, it's scouting. And we talked about this before about AAU ball, how they try to get these kids as young as 8, 9 years old. And, they try to, these shoe companies, they try to get them under their wing as young as possible so they can build a brand for them, so they can build a profile for them. And that's the sad part, because that's what we're seeing. I cannot stress this more, all right? If you haven't seen the documentary, Gunning for That #1 Spot, please watch it, because it explains all these things. What happened with Kevin Love and a number of players, Michael Beasley, that you see in today's NBA and the things that they went through. So you're really burning these kids out. You're starting them off before they even know what they're getting themselves into. And I want to say a big shout out to ESPN on this one, because during the high school all-star game, okay, for those who didn't see it over the weekend, ESPN during the halftime show, they dug into the AAU, ball type of style of what's going on and how they're pushing these kids and how they're staying with specific programs, because that's what got them there to begin with. So let's hear what they have to say about that.
It sounds nice. And that's the way it was. Then now it's about, I'm going to get you to the league, right? Look at the guys we have drafted in the first round of the NBA. Look what we're going to do for you and your families. I really think it's completely flipped like that, where once was academics, how many times you're going to be on television, to where now it's like NBA, what we're going to do to help you get there. I think it's really changed completely.
Well, I look at it and I think the influence of the shoe companies, you can't understate that. I mean, they get in the AAU circuit at such a young age. They're promoted. They're playing in these specific shoe company-sponsored events. And then when you start making your decision of where you're going to college, I mean, usually they stay true to the shoe company they have. And so I think that's part of the changing landscape as far as recruiting as well, and it's something that we cannot ignore in the game right now.
Here is the sad part about AAU ball, because as we know, LeBron James came out and said they need to get rid of AAU ball because it hurts development. Kobe Bryant also came out and said AAU ball hurts development. And now we're seeing ESPN come out and say, hey, look, this is a problem and things are changing, but not for the better for these kids. So where's the solution to this? As far as I'm concerned, when you have these type of leagues, you have these shoe companies, because let's be honest here, these shoe companies are predators. They are. They will look and they will try and scout for as young as 8, 9 years old and say, we're going to give you this shoe deal or this stuff, and you're going to be dedicated to us throughout the entire time so that we can make money off of you as you get older, so that we can build your brand and build your hype. So it works now, just for the athlete who, we don't know if that athlete's ever going to make it because you don't know if injury will happen or if they get uninterested or if they just follow a different career path or the fact that they're not good enough. All right? But the companies will still do this. Now, you'd think the organizations would have more power to stop these type of things for getting kids so young. And the organizations aren't doing enough. What about the community? I mean, should the community come together and say, hey, look, you're not going to do this to our kids. You're not going to ruin their childhood. Because, let's be honest, for those who don't know, AAU ball, when you play in an AAU ball, like when you play in that league, you are playing about 5, 6 times a day, depending on what it is. For those who have not seen the documentary, Lenny Cook, by all means, please, you'll watch AAU ball as Lenny Cook played against LeBron James, Carmelo Anthony. This is when they were really young, and they were just playing time and time again throughout the day. It's not like a pickup game where it's like, oh, we're just going to pick up a game and play. No, they have schedules. They have to play a certain way. So by the time these athletes get to a high level, to the NBA, you have to understand, when they're taking losses, they're just like, I'm not interested. It's just another game, blah, blah, blah. There's no emotion in it because they used up all their emotion when they were younger. They only have but so much drive, it seems. AAU ball has constructed this a certain way, and it's almost robotic. I would say that it's scary to see. Something has to be done about this. I think ESPN was good for talking about the issue, but not going more in depth on the issue and trying to investigate more on the issue. I think that when players like LeBron and Kobe come out and say something like that, you also have to ask them, okay, so what are the solutions? You know what I mean? Like, in the community, I feel as though still has to get, I think the community, that's the solution. To get everyone together first and have this talk. And right now it's not looking good. So these kids are still, they're still going to be used. And some, of course, as we know, their maturity level isn't there yet, and you're still giving them all these perks, from a shoe company. And so I'm not even going to talk about, because we can connect this right to, limited, release editions and demographics and things of that nature. We all know how the game is played with that, all right? But speaking of immaturity, I want to talk about this right now. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. For those who did not see his fight over the weekend, what is wrong with this dude? Seriously, there's already people saying he's a disgrace to boxing. We already know about his drug habits. We already know about his problems of making weight. He had to move up in weight. We already knew about his immaturity in general. But anyone who saw the fight with him, between him and Fonfara, it is absolutely mind-boggling on why he's out there. I don't understand this. So let me get this straight. For those who saw the fight, all right, you can talk to me about this. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. decides he's going to fight arms down, head out. This is how he's fighting the whole time. All right? And he's coming in head first. And then when he gets to Fonfara, he puts his hands up and then throws body. That's not how you fight. That is not how you box. You should know you lead in with jabs and straights or hooks or whatever. You keep your hands up first. We know how boxing goes. Keep your hands up first. Get close to your opponent. Jab your way in or whatever. Work your way in. And then you go in with your head. And then you want to work the body. You don't walk in with your head, your arms down, head out, heading straight for him. And what happened? Fonfara tore him apart from round 1 to, I'll say, round 9. Now, granted, a lot of people gave Chavez Jr. round 4. They gave him 1 round, okay? Fonfara destroyed Chavez Jr. And the entire time, what's he doing? He's complaining to the referee. He's doing this, turning his back and carrying on, being dramatic. The crowd is like, what are you doing? And the reason I say from round 1 to round 9 is because Chavez Jr. quit. That's right, he quit. I want you to hear the interview. All right? This is what we're going to do. I want you to hear the interview on why he quit. This is how crazy, this is how delusional this dude is.
Julio, are you okay?
Now wait up. I'm going to stop you right there. If you're fine, and he did quit the fight, and you're saying that you're fine, there's nothing wrong with you, then why did you say in your corner that you had a problem with your leg?
Right here, Joe. Come on. How you feel?
Stop it. Stop the fight. I'm done. Break. Stop the fight. Stop it. Stop it. I want it stopped. Yeah. It's my leg. It's my leg. My leg's bothering me.
Fuck up his leg. He says.
Stop it.
So if you're okay, then why'd you stop the fight? The fact is, you were getting beat up too much, and you quit. You had no more driving. You had no heart in you. You decided you were done, especially after you got knocked down. So you're lying. But you know what? Let's keep going. Let's hear just how crazy this interview gets, because he actually believes he won the fight.
I have a toe opponent. I think I'm winning the fight, but this is...
You thought you won the fight?
I think I won the fight, you know. Before the second round, I think with the referee deduction, I don't know you.
I don't think the fight was even close. You were outpunched considerably. Why did you continue tonight to lean in with your head? What was your strategy there?
You know, my strategy is work your body, but the guy is too heavy for me. He's new weight. He's a good fighter. I wanted a rematch, you know, in 170. The guy is good, but I think I need another fight, and I need a rematch.
How much did the layoff affect you and the rust?
No, I feel good, you know. But this is the different way, you know.
Different way. It's too much heavier.
Try to make my fight, you know, go to a body, but the guy is heavy, you know. I feel no heavy hands, but heavy leg.
What do you think your future is now?
I want a rematch, you know. I want a rematch.
Thank you.
I think the guy is a good fighter, but I tell you, you know, the fight is close.
What do you think would be different?
Did this fight?
Yes, if you had a
layoff and different, because I have a fight, you know, and 170, you know, because 172 is too much for me.
Your reaction to going down for the first time in your career?
I'm relaxed, you know. I'm fight better after the knockdown. I am a fighter, you know. I can lose, I can win by fighting for the fans, you know. I think this is a good fight for the fans. I lost, but I am here, I'm good, and I want a rematch.
Your dad warned you against taking this fight.
Yes.
And you decided to take it anyway, was he right?
Because maybe it's right, but I fight for the people, you know. I can lose, I can win, but I fight for the people.
Julio, thank you.
Thank you.
So this dude thinks that he won the fight, and you quit on. You quit, and it's just there's so much that's wrong with this. Okay, what he's saying. There is no way. Now, first, he said that, you know, the layoff, the 13 months, that didn't have a problem with him. That's not the problem here. Okay, so you're saying that because, as we know, Chavez Jr. has always had a problem with making weight. So you take a 172 fight, okay? Because that's what he's saying. A 172 fight, and he's too much for you. So you want a rematch at 170. That's what you want. So a 2-pound difference, okay? That's what you're saying. Now also, let me get this straight here, okay? You're also saying that you deserve a rematch. You deserve a rematch. You quit, and you sit here saying you deserve a rematch. No, there is no way you can sit here and say, now look, if you'd have fought and you lost by decision or you got knocked out or whatever, you went out in your shield, you know what I mean? Okay, rematch. I get it, okay? But you quit. You quit. You decided to quit. You said your leg hurt, then you said you felt fine, there's nothing wrong with you. Now you're saying you want a rematch after quitting because you felt that you were winning the fight. If you felt you were winning the damn fight, well then guess what? You wouldn't have quit. So which one is it? Either you didn't have any damn heart, or there was really something wrong with your leg. Which, it sounds like there's nothing wrong with your leg. What is it? This makes no sense. And then you turn around and say you're fighting for the people. That your dad was right that you took this fight. You shouldn't take this fight because it's too heavy. All right, but you're fighting for the people. All right. If you haven't realized, the people are booing you because you quit, because they were backing you, because this was your fight. This is your crowd. Let's be honest here. All right. Because for those who saw what happened after they stopped the fight. People were throwing beers into the crowd. They were hitting Fonfara. They were hitting the commentators. Paulie Malignaggi was afraid for one minute. He was like, yo, they're hitting us with stuff. Like, the crowd got so unruly that they were just throwing all types of stuff in the ring. That's what happened. So this was a pro-Chavez Jr. crowd. And then you quit on them. No, it's not because they hate Fonfara. It's because you gave up. And then you make 1,000 excuses on why you gave up. And then you blame the ref. Then you sit here and say you really were winning when you weren't winning, given the punch stats and anyone who saw the fight. What fight did... He had to be concussed. It's the only way I can see this as an excuse. It's the only way you can justify what he is saying. There's no way. Unreal. As far as I'm concerned... People who have always bagged on Chavez Jr., and I have at times too, because of the fact that, he couldn't make weight, or because he was caught, doing drugs or whatever. This really puts his career in question now. Seriously, where do you go from here? You want to have a rematch with the guy who dominated you. I'm talking about, if you look at the punch stats, my God, who dominated you, that you admit the guy was too heavy for you. Not heavy hands, even though he knocked you down. Not heavy hands, but heavy body in general, because your punches really weren't doing anything. And Fonfara even said himself in the interview that you would get one big shot. That's all you waited for, was one big shot. And then after you took your hardest shot, that was it. Because he was like, that's all you got. And it was nothing. So he ate your one big shot, and then he just picked you apart for the rest of the fight. And then you think you deserve a rematch after quitting. You've got no way. No way. And here's the thing. This is the same Chavez Jr. that just not too long ago on Twitter picked a fight with Bernard Hopkins. All right? Talking about how, he can beat Bernard Hopkins. You can beat Fonfara. If you think you can stay in that division with Stevenson, with Kovalev, with Fonfara, you can't even beat Fonfara. You would get destroyed by Stevenson or Kovalev. Stop. Just stop. All right? I mean, come on. Let's be honest here. Hopkins is still on the table. You know what I mean? Like, nah, man. Look. If you really want to prove, and this is what we just talked about not too long ago with Danny Garcia moving up in weight, Chavez Jr. did the wrong thing. He took a big fight moving up in weight. What he should have did was, he should have picked him off a sucker first. You know what I mean? And got used to that weight. Someone who was in lower class of that division. Then you work your way in. You get used to that weight. You get your confidence up. It's all strategy. You just don't say, I'm going to pick this big fight and I'm going to win my style. That is not how it works. Who the hell taught him anything? And it felt bad for Julio Cesar Chavez, who was a legend in boxing, to sit there and have to watch his son act that way. That is crazy. Hands down, going for it, and then when you don't get your way, you complain to the ref every round. That's not a boxing match. That was a one-sided slaughter with another guy complaining all day. That's what it was. And then to say that you won, you were winning. Okay, right, you were winning. You have to be delusional. Like I said, I really want to say after the knockdown you were just concussed. And just say that's the excuse for that. You know what? I'm done. Because there's just too much. That's just overload right now. I'm done. I will talk to y'all later. Y'all be safe. That crazy, that just happened. That crazy shit. I'll talk to y'all. Y'all be safe. I'm out.